Thank you for joining us today for Networking in 60 Veterans in Tech. It is my pleasure to introduce our speaker, Jorel Taruc. He is the Vice President of the Project Victory ERG at Nutanix. He's also the Senior Account Manager supporting the U.S. federal sector. He is a U.S. Navy veteran and served on board fast attack and ballistic missile submarines. After serving in the U.S. Navy, Jorel worked in the IT industry for over 15 years. Starting at entry-level position, he progressed his way through engineering, project management, and eventually to technical sales at Nutanix, an enterprise cloud company that pioneered hyper-converged infrastructure. While at Nutanix, Jorel achieved the recognition of being in the Circle of Success, which signifies the top percent of sales teams worldwide. He is passionate about helping others with an increased focus on veterans. Jorel lives in Maryland with his wife and 3 young children. Please join me in welcoming Jorel Taruc. Take it away.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. It's great to see everyone here on this platform. Thank you, Catherine, for having me as well. In the next 9 to 10 minutes, what I'd like to do is share 3 main topics. The first one will be about my experience and my journey transitioning from the military to the civilian world, corporate America. Then I'll share some information about Nutanix and the technology that we provide. And lastly, third, I'll provide some information on how we work with veterans and also the small business and partner community and how we can work together moving forward. So with that, this is a tough spot following Chuck. Chuck, great job. A wealth of great information you did there. So you provided there. So I'll try my best to live up to that. But a few things that I'd like to share. When I was transitioning from the military, I served on board submarines for 5 years. So after 9/11, I joined the Navy. I served from 2002 to 2007. And when I was getting out, there weren't many of these I don't think there were any virtual networking events. So trying to navigate how to get into corporate America was challenging, right? Some of the TAPS programs or the transition GPS programs at that time were all local. So I was in Connecticut. So most of the folks that I met with were all Connecticut-based companies. So it was tough. But what I did was I got out. I made sure I created a targeted resume, and I knew I wanted to land an IT job. I was a radioman in the Navy, and on subs, we had a converged rating. So basically, it wasn't just communications, but it was also IT. So I got my start in IT in the Navy, and I knew I could take that experience and transition that into an IT job. So what I did is created that targeted resume and just posted it online. I think the most popular platforms at that time were monster.com and clearancejobs.com. So I posted my resume and started to get a little nervous. Wasn't getting the calls as quickly as I thought, but eventually I did. And I interviewed with a couple companies, and I took one of the first jobs. And that's one of the things I wanted to mention is there's a lot of pressure to get out. There's a lot of confusion. So don't think about trying to be perfect and landing that perfect gig and taking all these surveys and quizzes about what you need to do and where you're the best fit. Just start somewhere. Starting creates this energy, creates this momentum. And by doing that, you'll be put into a place where you'll then start to network easier. And then you can really just, figure out if that's what you want to do and start growing from there. There's a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear, where he mentions that by increasing or bettering yourself 1% each day, by the end of the 1 year, you'll be a version 37 times better than when you started. So try to strive to, better yourself in any aspect by 1%, and you'll eventually be a version 37 times better than you. So I did that. When I first got my first job, I was working at NIST in Maryland, the National Institution of Standards and Technology. And I didn't rest on my laurels there. What I did is I started to earn certifications. Chuck mentioned that in his talk, right? Starting with just this basic ones, A+, right? So I earned my A+ certification, kept my online resume updated. And before I knew it, I was getting calls from other companies, other contractors in the DMV area. And then I moved on. Took another job in the Pentagon. They offered a 35% salary increase, which wasn't much back then. I was just starting out. But I moved from servicing computers to servicing printers in the Pentagon, right? So I was a printer technician, and just continued with those habits, right? Trying to better myself. From there, I moved and got the Security Plus certification. I got Microsoft certifications, kept my resume updated. And before I knew it, I was now being recruited to be a senior IT analyst for the Office of the Secretary of Defense. So this is just how I progressed and what I did to progress. And one of the myths that I heard kind of swirling around was that people would look down on job hopping. But I've learned that that's not true at all, especially when you move positions with a purpose and you can articulate that to the recruiters. This is why I moved, and explain to them why you did that. It's everyone understands and gets it when you do that. So don't be afraid to move to a bigger or better position because you think job hopping is bad. Not the case at all. The second thing is education. I was always intimidated that, or maybe I felt like, I wasn't the best fit because I didn't have my degree starting out. That's not true either. Education is gained in various different ways, not just by graduating from a school and earning a degree. You get tons of experience in education from certifications, from on-the-job training, and especially in the military. So I eventually earned my degree while I was working in the industry and got a degree that was related to my field. So, but starting out, I always felt like that was that held me back, but it's not true at all. Especially if you can talk to your experience, education comes in many forms. So eventually, I'm almost done with this job section. I could just continue to network, continue to get certifications. From the IT analyst position, I then moved into engineering, and then project management, and then technical sales. The last thing I'll talk about with my journey through corporate America was there were several instances, I can still remember them very vividly, where I was trying to go for a position or something happened on the job that at the time I felt was just devastating. Right? For example, there was a very prestigious position to be the Secretary of Defense's personal IT guy. And, the job was lined up for me, but then it got swooped for a multiple different reasons, and I was devastated. But looking back now, I got that opportunity again 3 months ago. 3 months later, took the job, and then she started moving into administration and engineering. So the main thing with that is don't beat yourself up and don't take things too hard. Things are always going to happen in your journey in corporate America or in life. And there's a quote or analogy by someone named Brian Dyson, who is a former CEO of Coca-Cola, where he said, in life, you're always juggling balls. There's usually like 5 balls, and 4 of them are glass, right? That's life, family, your spirituality, and friends. And then the 5th one is a rubber ball, and that's work. And that ball will drop, but when it drops, it'll bounce back up. When the other balls drop, they won't ever be the same. So just remember what's important in life. Remember about these 5 balls, and always just pick your head up when something bad happens, because bad things will happen. So moving on to just Nutanix as technology. Nutanix is the pioneer in something called hyperconverged infrastructure. Essentially what we do is we help simplify IT operations and we modernize data centers. Now we've expanded and we're now modernizing multi-cloud infrastructure. So the way we do that is we essentially combine multiple components into one easy to use appliance with a simple interface. So these components are storage, compute, virtualization. We combine all of that down into one. A great analogy is like the modern smartphone. Back then, we used to have a camera, a phone, a calculator, a computer. Well, now we've combined all of those devices into one simple platform with a great, easy-to-use interface. We've taken that same concept, but moved it into the data center and the enterprise IT industry. So that's that same type of paradigm shift that we're providing for our customers. We pioneered this space, so we created this technology. And ever since the Gartner Magic Quadrant had a space to evaluate competing tech, we've been the leader in 4 years in a row. Since our founding in about 2009, we've grown to have over 20,000 customers, many which are probably in your everyday life, like Amex is a huge customer of ours. The NASDAQ runs on Nutanix. Home Depot and Walmart are all huge customers of Nutanix. Air Force fighter pilots train on Nutanix. And if you like that latest Toyota Tundra, that was designed on Nutanix as well. So I like to say we're one of the bigger IT companies that no one's ever heard of. We have an NPS score of 90 plus over the last 6 years, which means we have a huge customer loyalty score. And speaking of certifications, we're one of the top 15 paying IT certifications out there. Now to wrap this all up, I'm just going to talk about our partners and our small businesses and our veterans. Nutanix is a 100% channel-driven company, which means all of our sales, none of them are directly to the government. We all sell through a value-added reseller, a federal service integrator, or a global service integrator. So for any of you small business owners out there, Nutanix is a great company to partner with. We have an Elevate program, a partner program, essentially, that gives you free training. We step you through different levels and different tiers of being a partner. Whereas you progress through these tiers, you get additional benefits like dedicated partner account managers and so forth. And by using this, by getting these free training, not just for partners, but for veterans and for other users out there, we can help grow our business together. There's estimated to be about a $60 billion attainable market out there for HCI, hyperconverged infrastructure. So we would love to meet with you, partner with you. So to send this off, for anyone that's interested in Nutanix, feel free to go to nutanix.com/one-platform to test drive Nutanix and experience the delight of the interface and the simplicity of our technology. And then join me at my table after this. Love to talk to you, love to meet you. Hope some of this was helpful. And back to you, Catherine. Appreciate it, everyone.
Excellent. Okay, Jorel, thank you for sharing your personal journey, your tips for success. And of course, he just mentioned that you can catch up with him personally at the Nutanix table. So this concludes our speakers for the event. Please get those emojis out. Please join me in a round of applause